Welcome to Mindless Entertainment. I am Jesse Milestone, and from the bottom of my heart, may the 4th be with you. Yes, it is Star Wars Day. So for one day and one day only, let's forget that we're pissed about Disney. Let's forget that we're nervous about Solo. Let's put all those differences aside. Let's forget that Jar Jar Binks was a terrible character. And let's just all take a moment to appreciate Star Wars. Because Star Wars is important. Star Wars is important to you. It's important to me. It's been important to so many people. It solidified George Lucas as a filmmaker. It launched Harrison Ford's career. It redefined what was possible in cinema. It expanded the imagination and allowed for so many more possibilities of things in space, special effects, all these things that previously were unheard of. It did all of these amazing and brilliant things, but more importantly, it spoke to a generation, it brought a culture together, created a culture all on its own. In honor of this day, I'm wearing my favorite Star Wars shirt because it's multi-layered. It's just Stormtrooper, so you're like, yeah, that's a Stormtrooper, I get that. But if you're a real nerd like me, you also super appreciate that it's not just any Stormtrooper. Whoops. There we go. Just gonna play with my shirt here. It's TK421, bitches! TK421. So, I like the shirt for that reason. Anyway, I want to talk on this special day. I want to talk to you guys a little bit about how Star Wars has affected my life and how it's been a part of my life. It's very much a part of my life. Look. I have Han Solo frozen in carbonite as a lunchbox. Look, I have this incredible, actually, this amazing Star Destroyer, courtesy of Mark Sargent. Thank you, you're the man. Shouts out my video, sends me a freaking Star Destroyer. This guy's the bomb. Anyway, Star Wars has been, I want to hear about you guys too, so I want you guys to tell me. That's what there's a comment section for it. Let me know about your first, if you remember the first time you saw Star Wars, if you remember the big ways it's impacted you and affected your life, give me your Star Wars story below. But here's mine, right? I don't really have memories of not seeing Star Wars. I want to say, if I was going to give an estimate, I'm going to say probably like around 5-ish is when I first saw it, maybe 4, somewhere around there. So like, yeah, there's some little snippets and bits of my life before Star Wars, but most of for all of my serious development, Star Wars has been a part of my life. My best friend in kindergarten was my best friend because he was the only other person who knew who Boba Fett was. My very first childhood friends, imaginary friends, were Luke and Han. I even had a soiree with the dark side back in kindergarten. I was like, I wonder what it would be like if I hung out with Darth Vader for the day. He was pretty cool. It was interesting. I was like, you're evil, but you're still cool. What is that? And it's weird looking back, being like, oh my god, that was the first time I ever questioned black and white morality. So people talk about, oh, well, Star Wars is dated because of its rigid black and white morality, but because I was exposed to it, because I was exposed to an interesting and fascinating look at the dark side, I was curious about it. I got interested in that. I started questioning that at the tender age of like 5. I mean, that's crazy. That's insane. Han Solo was more to me, as you've probably seen in some of my other videos, more to me than just an imaginary friend. He was my imaginary mentor. He was my go-to person, you know, that was just taught me things. It was like, it was weird. I don't even know how to describe it to you, but he was just that figure, you know, that voice in my head, essentially, that person that helped me determine what was right and what was wrong, what I should do and what I shouldn't do. So that followed me all my years in school. My favorite bio teacher was my favorite teacher because he loved Star Wars as well. He meshed the two. It was Mendel Day. He had a whole crazy PowerPoint presentation pairing Star Wars and Gregor Mendel. What a great teaching tool. I mean, I have never forgotten Gregor Mendel and his P's as a result of that wonderful, wonderful teacher. I've written papers about this. That was my senior paper for part of the International Baccalaureate program, was a character comparison of Han and Malcolm Reynolds, Han Solo and Malcolm Reynolds. Star Wars is what got me interested in film. I didn't even take the film elective because we didn't offer it at my school at that time, but I chose to write my paper in film anyway. I was like, I will do the extra research. I will teach myself this subject matter, and I will do this. I mean, it sparked my imagination. It inspired me. I did another paper on it in a college class about film in the 1970s, where I got to have an hour-long interview with Richard Chew. Richard Chew was one of the editors on the original Star Wars. It was amazing. I geeked out hard. But Star Wars has followed me everywhere. I watched the trilogy, the original trilogy, all the frickin' time. And Star Wars, I mean, that's what connected me with you guys. You know, I had a lot I wanted to say. I had a lot I wanted to put out there, a lot of messages really and about centrism, about coming together on points, about not being divisive with, you know, super leftist SJW bullshit and with like super hardcore right-wing stuff. That was my original narrative, and it found its voice through Star Wars of all places. So this is just a huge part of my life every step of the way. And it's amazing that's so many people's experiences, right? And remember, Star Wars was not always for everybody. It's become that way over time. You know, I'm saying this, like, I'm sure plenty of you guys who are watching, you know, there's some of you who saw it in theaters when it came out, and this was for the nerds originally. I mean, you guys now had this culture that was only starting to gain its identity, now had a rallying point, now had a thing that brought everyone together, that everyone got excited about. And, you know, even though some people are sad about it trickling into the mainstream and being, you know, co-opted by mainstream media and pop culture, there's part of that helped nerddom become mainstream and more accepted. And that's a brilliant thing all on its own. And that was such, like, we care so much about this. And it's fuck anyone who says that we're not supposed to. Fuck anyone who's ever made fun of you for liking Star Wars or liking Star Wars as much as you do. Fuck anyone who said, stop talking about Star Wars, it's not that important. What do you know? It is so important. It is so important to all of us. That's why we love it so much. The universality of the first story. Even, guys, even the prequels, like, look, even the prequels, we were invested in those characters, right? We were invested in what happened to Anakin and what happened to Padme. We kind of knew what happened to Padme, but we were invested in how they lived their journeys in Obi-Wan's story. We were rooting for Yoda. We were curious to watch Palpatine's, you know, takeover of the Galactic Republic. I mean, these things mattered to us, and it's so idiotic to me when people say it shouldn't matter, it's dumb, you know, oh my god, it's just a movie, get over it. This is how, like, I just told you, I questioned morality for the first time at the age of 5 because of Star Wars. You know, this is how we feel our way through life. This is more than just, I love this is fun for me, this is an obsession, this is an interest. This is our guidebook on how to life, basically. This is how we find the best people in the world, duh. It's how we understand, like, other tropes. I mean, we can look at it through the lens, everything through the lens of Star Wars. I don't know if I'm making myself clear, if I'm just gushing at this point, but I hope you get catch my drift here. Star Wars is life for so many of us. Star Wars is life, and don't forget that, right? Do not forget that. No matter what happens, no matter what goes wrong, those original movies, and whichever ones you do like or love in addition or don't, right? The ones that you love, the originals especially, and then anything else that touches you, that's important and that matters. Hold on to that, love that, cherish that, and don't ever forget that. All right, now for the month of May, I'm going to pull a Cicero, and I'm going to end all my videos with a shameless plug for Grizzled. If you haven't seen a video about it, Grizzled's a new movie that is trying so hard to get made. It's about a giant man-eating penguin out in the woods. What more can I tell you? The Kickstarter link is below. Definitely look more into that. It's awesome. Also, 100 points to you if you get the Cicero reference. So, yeah. Side note, I'm thinking about at some point developing an actual point system and doing contests every month to see who gets the most points. Let me know if you think that's a good idea. You know, talk about that. Yes. Additionally, I saw Infinity War again, and I'm going to talk about it again, but I'm going to do that for my patrons only. So if you're not one of my patrons and you want to know how my thoughts changed on second viewing, then join Patreon and do that thing. So may the 4th be with you. Happy Star Wars Day, guys. Just a lot of just positive feelings today. Just positive vibes. Just send those happy thoughts out there, because 4 weeks from now we're going to be in mourning. All right. Peace.